Hi. With there being a monetary aspect tied to the game via the auction hall now, my question is around the botting. So Diablo 2 was pretty much ruined by botting in its later years, and I'd like to know what you guys are doing to increase the warden protection for botting.
That's all you, baby.
Okay, so the question is basically, what are we going to do about bots? So number one, I mean, as Jay was talking about a little bit earlier, yeah, there's no question from a warden standpoint, that's an investment that we've spent the past 10 years on. We're going to continue to do that. We've actually been sort of insidiously, trying to figure out how it is that people are going through and re-engineering some of our systems or better understanding them. We have some inherent protections given the nature of Diablo's gameplay, in that it does render the bots a little less effective, but it still makes it where an individual can go through and they can just grind for 24 hours at a time. So we're going to be monitoring that. We're going to be policing it really well and making sure that we maintain the consistency of the gameplay.
So I want to follow up on that too, because one of the things that I know is really annoying in Diablo 2 is the people who would jump into games and broadcast and jump out, and that's something we'll be looking at as well. It's actually a little tougher to do in our setup than it would be than it was in Diablo 2, just inherently in how we kind of designed how you jump in and out of games. But we're definitely going to look to any kind of like spamming or things like that. We'll look to try and stop as well.
Awesome, thank you.
Hey, here from New Zealand. I was trying the monk out, and I was just wondering, are all his strikes single click, single attack, or are there some like the old Barbarians D2 Frenzy where you can just hold and go forever?
Well, a lot of the abilities, yeah, you can hold down, and some you can't. But most of the time, you can just kind of right-click drive with a particular ability if you want. We've tried to design the combat so that there's really the most optimal way to play is never with just one ability, just held. That it's always, you're going to be better if you can swap in at least a follow-up, like a big hit that's controlled by either cooldown or resource or something like that. Because we find it's a little bit more fun when you're using a couple of abilities together. But yeah, you can do the same control scheme as Diablo 2.
Great question. Thanks for coming.
Hi, have you guys thought about adding WSAD movement controls so that players don't have to spam the mouse so much when kiting?
We've played around with, and mostly played a lot with games that used that in kind of an isometric view, and the general feeling we had was two things. One, you don't really want to support two control schemes. It's really hard to make one control scheme feel great. Having to make two feel great just makes the challenge that much bigger. And we found just kind of the non-analog nature of the WASD doesn't work very well with isometric play. Like, we felt it didn't feel good, so we decided to stick completely with the mouse.
Thank you. Come on up.
Hey guys, I just want to ask you, in Diablo 2 you used to have rune words. Right now you in Diablo 3 has rune stones. So I'm asking that, are you planning to put the rune stones, the rune words again? Like Nigma, Phoenix, Treachery, and a bunch of other words?
No, sir. We're not. We have a lot of new systems that sort of do everything that runewords needed to do. The rune stones, of course, you have your vanilla skill and 5 variations on that times 7 levels. So this is like a ludicrously rich system. We also, gems are coming back, and they have more things that they do as well. We've moved a ton of the attribute or the stat points into the itemization game. So, the item game is a huge, broad characterization. It's just awesome, yeah. Crafting, you make your own items which have some set abilities and always random affixes as well. You can break those things down. That's replaced gambling, for example, if you have something you don't like, and so on and so on. So we have a ton of new systems. We don't actually need rune words at all anymore. We have it all covered.
Thank you.
Hey,
I wanted to ask, let me look at it. All right, you guys keep teasing us about console version of the game. Is it coming out on console or not?
Okay, we haven't officially announced anything. So there's my dodgy part of the answer. So I don't think we've been actually very shy about that. We've hired people. We have a console team working internally. So we want to make a console version. I think that's pretty obvious. And, we're hiring right now to try and fill out that team. But we haven't announced it because we don't want to announce something until we're sure. Until we have a game that we can show to people, we don't like to announce things. And we've really only kind of been as upfront as we have because we've been trying to hire people, and it's really hard to hire people when they don't know what they're going to work on. But yeah, we'd really like it to be on console. We think it can work there. We've done a lot of experimentation with the controls. But the most important thing for us is if it goes onto console, it does not compromise the PC game in any way. And it feels like it was built for the console. It doesn't feel like a compromised product on either platform. It was like we built it from scratch for that platform. And if we can't do that, we won't do it.
Yeah. He's happy. Thank you.
Hey, this question is about runes. There's 5 runes, 7 ranks. And one way of doing it was you have a Crimson rune and say, I want to throw it in Blizzard. And say I change my mind, I don't want to use Meteor. I take that Crimson rune out, put it in Meteor instead. And then you changed your minds to where it was locked into one skill. And that created a situation where now you have up to like 5,000 different runes that could be traded or found on the auction house, whatever. Because now you have a rank 1 for each class, for each rune type. And you said a couple months ago in a press interview that creates a huge inventory problem. And I was just curious what you were finalizing on that.
So the short answer is we don't know. We're still playing with that system. I talked about that a few months ago just because I thought it'd be fun to kind of throw out there, hey, here's a system in flux, and here's what we're trying to do to fix it. And the system we put in has some good things about it, the new ones with all the attunement and things like that, and it has some bad things, the inventory being one of them. And it's definitely a problem we feel we need to fix, but I don't want to speculate on what we're going to do to fix it because we don't exactly know yet. But a lot of the times you got to play with these systems for a while and really understand what all the good about the change you made is so you can figure out how to make it even better. So we are still working on it. It's actually probably the only system that we have that is still in flux in terms of design. Everything else is really pretty solid and just being tuned and polished. But that one we still feel like it needs something.
No, back in line though. We'll get you. Be gentle.
Nice hammer.
Thanks. So back in D2, I pretty much perfected the Teeth Necromancer build, in which I just spammed every point in the teeth. I felt it synergized really well with my character. I was wondering if D3 is going to have any kind of spell equivalent to Teeth.
A spell equivalent to Teeth?
Like a similar spell does the same thing, just a radius of some kind of...
Yeah, we've got several spells, I would say. I don't know that we have one that I can think of off the top of my head that's exactly like Teeth. But we definitely have some skills that are, multiple splitting projectiles with a little bit of kind of randomization. There's like, with rune variations, there's like 700 skills per class. So my guess is we actually probably do have one that's exactly like Teeth, and that's not the class that I'm playing right now. So, but yeah, definitely. You should see something that's similar enough.
Thank you.